Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of The Real Game with your coach, Coach Z. I am here with Donnie Nolan, our main guy, Donnie Betts, Donnie Nolan, Donnie the Money. Donnie knows we're still trying to figure out, get him a good handle over there. But we are tonight joined with our partners at the Hunt ATL. Cory is here with us. Cory, welcome aboard. Why don't you tell us and our listeners a little bit about you guys?
Oh, thanks so much. And I appreciate you guys welcoming me in. Yeah.
You bet, man. You bet. Let's get
appreciate
after
it.
it. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's all about a good time and, everybody else that comes in and all of them enjoying themselves too. But yeah, the Hunch ATL, we created the site. It's really about, somewhere safe that people can go to understand what they're really getting, right?
Right.
It's called verification. So we are making it easy for everybody just to come in. You sign up, you come in, and if you wish, get verified. I mean, we're hosting all these handicappers. They're having a tournament right now, which is fantastic. It's going for 14 days straight, and every 2 weeks, $1,250 is divided by the top 5 cappers, right? And so we got that going on. But if people just want to come in and just get signed up and buy these handicappers packages because they've already been verified, that's what it's all about. You understand that these guys are the best of the best that are out here, but they really do. It's not all smoke and mirrors. It isn't. It's all real. These guys are real, and they I think on their side, they're tired of all the, okay, yeah, sure, this is really what this is. So that's kind of it, really. I mean, we're gonna have a.
It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything to go join the Hunch.
No,
I log in. It
not
doesn't
at all.
cost me anything, right?
That's right. I mean, it does not cost. You come in and sign up. It's free. I mean, think about that. You're signing up, and you can jump into a competition. But the cool thing is, if you're just learning about the sport, go ahead and put your plays out there. I think that's the great thing, right? You can go out and see how you're doing.
Right.
You go ahead and you might be, a lot of people, you guys know, there are people out there that do watch you guys, that do just study and try to understand this. And I have a couple friends right here in A-Town that I'm very impressed that they know what they're talking about.
Right.
It's great to have you guys, people like you around though. Your crew is great because there is that education out there that people can come to people like you also and, take it all in and give out there and give it a shot.
Yeah. So that's what we try to do. We just try to educate people. We give our opinions on what we do. Donnie's a number guy. He's a number cruncher. He could have done a lot of things in his life, but he loves this. And I'm just the opposite. I look at it from a completely different point of view. So we like to get our heads together. Now, we don't charge for anything. We don't do anything like that.
Yeah,
and I don't call myself a capper. I never have. I never will. I don't. But I do give you my thoughts, and I mean, I write blogs on it, and people listen.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a mouthpiece. But I do know that there are cappers. There are serious cappers out there that do take their time. Donnie's one of them. I don't know if he wants me to call him that or not, but I know Donnie. I know Donnie puts a lot of time and effort. I know he looks at different.
I think it's awesome, man. Hey, Donnie, are you competing right now on ours? I mean, do you go?
Yeah, I'm fifth right now.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, I didn't know if
there's a lot of stuff that I bet, and I know you guys are just starting out, and you guys have listened to me. Tennis is my number one sport. In fact, if you talk to serious people that are way deep into it, tennis is their number one sport almost 80% of the time. And people will tell you, oh, NFL is my best sport. Then you don't know what you're doing. Like tennis is year-round sport. The best thing about tennis is if somebody gets hurt, the line, you get your money back. So it's a complete, it's free. No win, no loss, but it's the easiest game to hedge on. So I had one today. And I was talking to a friend of mine. I was like, yeah, this is the easiest one to hedge. I'll show you right now how it works out. And it was a $600 bet. And I got $1,100 back no matter what. So it was zero way I could lose on that. So
okay, I'll take a note.
But yeah, tennis is
after this.
Tennis is the number one. I think, let's see,
Well,
can tell you what, I think I
this
went
goes on to my next question.
tennis today.
I mean, this is what in our Discord, I know you have one too, Cory. In our Discord, we've got 12 different sports, and we've got guys even betting tennis, table tennis in Europe. You know, European soccer, all kinds of basketball, things like that. I have our team here on Coach's Call. As far as our podcast and everything go, we've got a team of about 5 guys. Okay, and this is what we do. I got a couple of guys that come in our NFL podcast
Right.
that are really good at that, you know, and so we're doing this. We got a couple of guys that we're your team. Talk to me about your team, your how many cappers do you have over there? You're talking about packages that we can look into. What's your team like over there, Cory?
Well, we're just getting started. I mean, I think our core team, I would just say, you know, well, we just launched what, 2 weekends
Right.
ago. I mean, I would say core would be about 7 now, but there's 20. There's more than 20. There's up to 25 now, I think, that are out there. Cappers. Matter of fact, one of my friends just he signed up for hockey, which is pretty cool. And he's already going. What do you say it was 8-1 or I don't, yeah. So he's already doing well. But you know, that's what we do. We're still building those teams. But you know, we have 4 partners that in it. We all 4 of us that are the core team that do different things within our company. But see, as we're doing right now, I mean, I consider you guys now that we're partnering all together. Our team's getting nice and healthy. It's getting healthy real quick.
Right.
And you know, I'm all about using. So I'm not a capper for sure, but I mean, I'm like you. I mean, you put me in front of it, understand it, and I'm here to, you know, get more people to understand and come in for a good reason. Like I said, now, you know, but as our core people, our 4 partners. We have those going. Our handicappers, we're starting fresh, but I would say probably about good 7. And you know, we'll see who sticks there, right?
Right.
But so far, so good. All we get is good feedback so far. And we'll see how this team grows.
Cool.
Yeah.
Donnie, you got any questions on?
What's that?
No, I mean, I know that I talked to another guy that came in the Discord and we were discussing. I was like, you know, there's some things that I like, there's some things that I don't like, but it's a new site, you know, being able to opt out of emails every time you get one, that would be great. Being able to put your hedges in, that would also be great. But that requires live betting, and live betting, I get it. It's a whole different game. You've got to be pulling data from everybody's sites and things like that.
Yeah, right.
So it's just you know, it's something to grow into, and I get it. It's great.
It's going to take a little time, right?
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
that's what it's all about. And like I said, having partners like you guys and you know, a couple others, it will help us gain that insight to what other thought and where the other thoughts are. And heck, we can teach each other stuff as we go, right?
Right.
And I think we'll become more and more of that.
So did you come into this as a website design guy or a data analytics guy?
Me? Oh,
yeah.
Market. I mean, my whole background is sales. I mean,
okay.
And I do have that. My back end is, you saw the video that I did for you guys.
Yeah.
I wrote, I write the music. That's actually, I wrote all that music too. I'm a music guy, but I can combine, and I have a thought process that I do stuff, but mine's also ideas on how things are, how things go, what colors are. I mean, it's just marketing stuff, right? So, you know, Sean's, I've known him. We've worked together for 10 years in you know, other stuff and energy and other pieces of marketing and sales. And he said, hey man, if anybody's going to do this, you got the energy to go ahead. I went, okay, let's do it.
One of the big things that drew me, Cory, to really kind of investigating more with you guys and kind of diving in more with you guys is when it's your new, you got a different way to market sports betting. And I've said what you've said for the past 15 years, and everybody calls bullshit on me, but you said it in a way that it makes sense because I'm just raw and unfiltered. I would rather give my money to Donnie Nolan and let him put my money on a couple of tennis players overseas than I would some Joe Schmo in some high-rise building and put my money in some other freaking market Go ahead and tell me what you told me. I'm going to try to find it. You told me something about 28% of the market is down. So where would you rather put
Oh
your
yeah.
money?
So that's a fact. I mean, you look at even that's a good point too. You have stock markets, you have Bitcoin these days. And look, I know people that are in it or people get it pulled into it. And they're going, oh my God, look what the hell I lost. I have a buddy of mine. I talked to him today. He is now going to work another couple years, 2 or 3 years. And he's at that point where he's did run really good. He's a hatchet man. He's got a cool job. Interesting. But you know what? He came back to me the other day and went, you're not going to believe what I lost. And I was like, uh-oh. And he said, man, he said, I got to give it to you. I mean, I'm now going to look into what you guys do, because what you just said, I mean, if these handicappers, I mean, they're verified, that they're that good, huh? I mean, and for the most part, and I noticed, and I haven't been here in here as long as knowing about handicappers, other than how well Sean does, but they never get worse. I think you ever think about that? They don't.
Right.
Not one that I have ever met. I look at them and I see their stat, and I go, okay, I mean, maybe.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Everybody knows sports. Okay. And here's the thing that intrigued me about you guys. And I mean, this is I'm reading this verbatim. These are your words, Cory. Just like the stock market, customers can research fund performance and past histories. So where is that in this industry? Applying that here, sports investors can purchase a sports betting fund or a handicapper, knowing it's verified, knowing it's ROI. With units 1, we want to remove the idea of our sports betting being taboo, and people need an option when the stock market is down 28% on the year. I have said that for the last 15 freaking years. My ex-father-in-law hated that I used to think that way, but I'm like, dude, I know the Cowboys suck. Let me just fade them. It's easier than putting my money in medicine.
And that's the reality, right? I mean, we're showing it too. And the fact that we can go, and it just makes sense. I can look at these leaderboards and go, well, I know who I'm going to be picking. I'm going to take a package from. It's that guy right there. And you keep up with them, and it's consistency. Well, hell, you're better than the stock market right there.
But you got to be careful. And I'm going to say this, and you guys are going to agree with me. You got to be careful, because everybody's about the almighty dollar right now. This is not a sprint. If you're going to be a pro at this, if you want to last,
yes,
this is a marathon. You have got to have a money management strategy that Donnie's gone over on our podcast and his podcast over and over again. You got to have a goal. You got to have an idea. And this is where my team, this is where coaches call. This is where I really appreciate these guys like Donnie, like Tristan, like these other guys with the different ideas. So you don't come in 1 week, you win $1,000, and the next week you lose 2,000.
Right.
You can follow these guys, and they're going to go cold. Your 8-1 guy this week is going to go cold. That's
what they do. Short term most of the time, like I said.
Yeah,
that's usually last a long. I mean, seriously, they do that.
And that's the thing that I don't think a lot of people understand about it. Yeah. So I've got money in a variety of different avenues. The stock market has a way to get out. It's called a stop. So you put a stop at this, and you take your loss and you get out. In this, you either have to take a full loss on the bet, which means you better have a very good money management system, bankroll management system, or you better be able to hedge it and bet the other side so you don't take as much of a loss. But that's the way that you stay in it. I mean, I'm averaging a little over 7% over the last 4 years. It's not amazing, but that's better than I'm going to get in a bank account. And and the perks I get are insane. I mean, Coach will tell you, opening night Predators VIP at the luxury suite.
That doesn't suck.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I can go grab DraftKings shit out of my ass over here, but
I listen to my advisors just like you would in the stock market. And I tell everybody, look, I don't change my dollar amount. It's just me. I don't go crazy. I just go, let's get an example. If we're going low, and let's say anybody new listening, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, I go, well, there you go.
Right,
You know,
right. Well, hey,
that's
Cory, I know you're real busy. Do you have anything else you want to share with us real quick? I know you got to go. You got other things to do. You got anything else you want to share with us real quick?
hey, you know what? I'm just again excited that we all teamed up together. And I just I challenge everybody just to go on our site, sign up. Again, it's free, and I want to hear the feedback. Get on the forum. I'd love to see you guys on any of our forums and give us all the feedback, because we're already, again, 2 weeks out and already a tournament going. But the more feedback we get, the better we're going to get. But I think we're off to a really good start. And yeah, let's all go get it, right, guys?
All right. I appreciate you, Cory. Hey, y'all go visit the Hunch ATL to help track your best bets. Test yourself against other cappers. Enter that free pick'em tournament for a chance to win $1,250. Again, that's the Hunch ATL for all your bet needs. Cory, I appreciate you. Thank you. And hopefully we can have you on again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All righty, buddy.
Thank you.
All right,
See ya.
take care.
All right, Donnie. Well, let's move on to the NFL. Last
We're
week
going
I-
NFL?
The
NFL.
The NFL. I wrote and I think you read it, a short blog. I called it the train wreck. The train wreck I call the NFL. There were things that happened within the course of 24 hours that solidified everything I was ranting over in all of our podcasts. All my rants, all that stuff that I do, they just proved me right, and I couldn't help but just write about it. And we've all been busy, and so I just had to wait to at least get you on here.
Sure.
We could talk about this. A couple of things. First, let's start with Andy Dalton at the Saints. I mean, that's the answer they got. And and I'm talking about quarterbacks. We've always talked about these quarterbacks, and my rant is about quarterback and lack of quarterback coaching. He's the best you got right now. I wrote this. I remember back in the day when Danny White was the worst of the worst, and I think he's 1,000 times better than Dalton. Hell, I'll take Gary Hogaboom that played for the Cowboys, or even Jason Garrett that just got fired from the Cowboys. Then Dalton. What do you think? I don't know.
Dalton's garbage. I mean, I would put Taysom Hill back there before I put Dalton. I mean, at least you've got a dual threat. I don't know what they were thinking. I know he came in relief and did okay, but
yeah,
he proved exactly who he is. I mean, but the quarterback play this year, let's be serious. We saw it last night. Mac Jones is terrible. Like, that was a blown first pick. Like, call him Ron Lee for right now. Like, whatever you want to do. Matt Ryan, he's gone. I mean, he's done. They benched him. Baker Mayfield, out the door. I mean, it just goes on and on down the list. I mean, the Packers got beat by a guy who started the XFL this year.
Yeah.
The XFL. I didn't even realize they were still playing yet. I mean,
let's jump back a couple of years, Donnie.
Yeah.
This is what I freaking can't stand about the NFL. I consider him one of the top 3 greatest quarterbacks, if not the greatest college quarterbacks to ever play the game. And they never gave him a shot at the NFL. They told him all he could be was a tight end. Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow would have at least competed. Instead of that, what's the zippy, zappy, zoopy kid from last night? I mean, come on, dude.
Here's the thing about Tebow. Tebow was never going to get it because he didn't play by the rules. If you look at what he did at Denver, he controlled the game. I mean, people are like, he barely escaped by the Pittsburgh. Yeah, but when it was go time, everybody got on his back. He was like, I don't care. I believe. And you can say God had a plan in it. You could not, but the man threw for 316 yards. There's so much of the 316 that came out of it. I was like, oh shit, that's crazy.
I'll never understand the freaking NFL. And I mean,
but he was praying to God, and people didn't like that.
Yeah. He should have been taking a knee and fighting other causes that really don't mean a shit. Don't get me started there. let's move on to Arizona, one of my favorite subjects. Kyler Murray, finally, and this is again, well, I'll get to him. A coach gets on him a little bit, and Kyler gets his panties in a bunch, call timeout, and he starts yelling and screaming at his coach on the way to the bench.
Yep.
This is what happens when you pay a kid like Murray $30 million a year, man. He can't read a defense. He can't identify a Mike linebacker. He can't set his protection. He can't find a hot read. I just don't get it. I mean, I wrote it here. The kid is Lamar Jackson's mini-me. And by the way, this shit is coming to a college campus near you.
Sure.
Mark my words. This is what happens when you put this kind of money in front of young kids that you don't hold accountable, that can go to a transfer portal, that can change schools 5 or 6 times and get paid already. Get ready, baby. It's coming to a college near you. Go ahead, Don.
Well, here's the thing about this. If you look at the stat lines, Murray threw 20 for 29, 204. Dalton, 30 for 47, 361. Murray, 1 TD. Dalton, 4 TDs. The game was changed because Dalton also threw 3 picks, which is crazy. I mean, the rushing yards, 137 to 85. There's nothing crazy there. I mean, the Cardinals didn't win it. Let's be serious.
No.
The Saints gave it to him through Andy Dalton's arm. I mean, that's all there was to it. I mean, now, did DeAndre Hopkins come out and show out that he still got it? Yeah, he did. I didn't think he had it in him. He was targeted 14 times, caught 10 of them. But at the end of the day, the Cardinals didn't impress me any. I mean,
let me ask you one thing, Donnie, and I know because you hard rock mind just like I do. Would you follow this guy into a battle? Would you lay your freaking body in front? No, I wouldn't either. Hey, let's move on to People's Magazine prettiest coach of 2018, Cliff Kingsbury. Oh my gosh, dude, he lost control of his garden gnome on national TV. And just like you just got done saying, the only thing that went his way is they played New Orleans and Andy Dalton. That's the only thing that helped him out. It's been a very long time, Donnie, since I've seen a grown man look that scared when a child yells at him. I mean, my advice, and I wrote it in my blog, my advice is pack it up and go back to college. Huh? I mean,
he lost the team.
Yeah.
That team's gone. They won't make the playoffs, I don't think.
I mean, it's just, but it's been these are things that have been my rants all season long, and they're coming to fruition. And I love it because finally, for the first time in my 53-year existence, I'm right half the time. This is another one. They kept saying something about McCaffrey. He can't play. He might only be there a couple plays. Why not? Why can't he? I mean, you've got route trees. I wrote it all down in my in the blog because I mean it's really all this is all they have to do. Oh, he has to study a playbook. No, he doesn't have to do that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he doesn't have. I mean, route trees are numbers, so all he has to do is look to the sideline, get a number. If he's in the backfield, all he has to do is go right or left because it's a run zone scheme. And when he takes a handoff, if it's an outside zone scheme, he reads from C gap back to A gap. If it's inside, he reads from A gap to C gap, and it's right or left. And that's it. They're not going to ask him to block. They're going to try to get him the ball. Why can't he play? How many plays did he? How many? I didn't even watch the game, Donnie. But did he play much?
No, I mean it wasn't an amazing thing. I mean, the craziest thing about all of this, like if you look at all of the games this weekend, only 5 games where the winners had the better quarterbacks, and that was the Bengals, the Seahawks, Chiefs, Dolphins, and there was one other. But I mean, otherwise, the quarterback play just was awful this whole weekend. So when somebody like that comes up, like you're not going to be impressed. I mean, it's a very weird year. Normally, we have winners out there trying to take over games. And we're not seeing that from the QB spot this year. It's coming from the defenses. It's coming from, Tony Pollard. It's coming from Derrick Henry. Just a variety of different people. But like McCaffrey, he could easily be the one because Garoppolo sure is not stepping up. I mean, I think McCaffrey has the best shot at stepping up on that team. Now I say that it may be Debo. Like it could easily be Debo, like because he can do it all. Like I would give him the ball and let him throw it.
So let me ask you this: the next thing on my list was, I think there are only 3 elite teams in the NFL. That's it. I think it's the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Eagles. I think teams like Dallas, San Francisco are looking from a close outside in. But if you're looking at elite team, and man, I use that word. That's a tough word because I use it as a quarterback at the quarterback position too. And we've argued this point on podcasts. What makes you elite? Are there any elite quarterbacks now in the NFL? Which I say only 2. And they're on their way out though. Well, I take that back. The Chiefs have a pretty good freaking little quarterback, and the Bills do too. 4 of them. Anyway, I think there's only 3 elite teams. I need the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Eagles. Do you think McCaffrey going to the Niners puts them anywhere closer to that category? Or
it can't hurt.
More?
It can't hurt. Does it get them into the elite? Not yet. The elite teams that you just named.
Do you agree with that though?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. But here's the problem I see with all 3 of those teams. None of them have a defense. Like they have a defense, but it's not the Cowboys defense. It's definitely not the Niners defense. And for some ungodly reason, it's not the Titans defense anymore, who have stepped up and been playing great. But it's not even the Buccaneers defense. And the Bucs are the weirdest team right now. They have the number 2 passing offense in the league and the worst red zone offense in the league. How do you have both of those? Like,
yeah,
Brady went 32 for 49, almost 300 yards. Mike Evans drops a touchdown pass that's wide open. When was the last time you heard Mike Evans drops a touchdown pass? That doesn't happen. But those teams aren't stepping up to give that elite level. So you've got 3 at the top right now. And sooner or later, one of these teams, like maybe it's the Bengals, they're going to start catching fire on offense. And then it's a shootout. And we talked about this, there was a game and I was like, yeah, I don't think you can get into a shootout. I think it was the Bengals. I was like, the game is suddenly trending over. And if it's trending over, I like the Bengals, because you can't win that shootout. They just have too many weapons.
Right. I'm still, and the Falcons let us down. We've been following our trendy teams here. The Falcons have finally let us down, but that's all right. They made us some good money. We're still riding the Jets and the Giants. We can say
that's let us down too, though.
We can say this about you just don't know in the NFL. I can't. I don't understand it. I don't see it. I don't know why, things happen like they do because you're a professional team. Like the Panthers. I was all over the Panthers. Hell, me and Tristan got in an argument last week in our podcast about the Panthers, and he was telling me why I was so wrong. And then they come out and waffle stomp the Bucs. Just fucking waffle stomp them. Which made me feel good because I was right and Tristan was wrong. But you just never.
That's why he's not here.
Yeah, I know, right? And the last thing that I said here is, to me, and I don't know that I'm getting old and grumpy, but to me, this is the worst group of NFL quarterbacks I have ever seen since I've been watching professional football. I don't think it's completely their fault. I think coaches quit coaching and teaching. There might be, we've got a handful of decent pro quarterbacks out there, but dude, you can't, and I dare anybody to convince me that there's more than 4 elite quarterbacks in our league right now.
I agree.
I mean, it's gotten to that point.
They're just
Sid Dog, are you
not.
listening? Is he
I'm
listening?
listening.
They're not competing at the level that they're going to have to win games.
Right. Yeah. What do you think, Sid? I mean, you're not on our NFL podcast much, but you know what a quarterback is. What do you think about that statement that I just made?
I think what you said is true going down the line. And I mentioned this about Sam Ewers at Texas going 19 for 49. These kids are going to showcases, but are they getting taught?
Exactly.
Kyler Murray doesn't even watch film when they have to put something in your contract that requires you to watch film for 2 hours. Of course, we're not going to have elite quarterbacks, you know.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. Hey, Donnie, is any well, I'm going to talk about the one game that I had picked. Tristan ain't here with our records, but the one game that I did pick was the Panthers. Not only covered, won outright. To me, it was a surprise they won. It wasn't a surprise that they covered. The Falcons and Bengals. I think my boy Joey and his crew they're starting to trend in the right direction. They're kind of bringing everything together.
I do remember Tristan picking the Bengals, and I think we took the Falcons.
Yeah, we did.
And then right before game time, we talked, and I said, "Listen, the Bengals over is trending up. I'm going to the other side just because of that."
Mm-hmm.
And like when I see that much money come in on an over, it's gonna affect the game, and it looks like a shootout.
Right.
I mean, I think it was set at like 46, and it ended up at 52, but the money had shifted a ton in the last like 5-6 hours before the game. So but overall quarterback play, not great. The Cowboys look pretty decent. I mean, sure, it's the Lions and they're 1-5, but they're not a bad 1-5 team. They're not the Texans,
I can't remember what her name was on that show, but Michael Irvin was all excited, and she's like, "Dude, you need to calm down because Cooper Rush could have beat the Lions. They're not very good. So just calm down. It's not, oh, Dak is back. Here we go. Make a run." Yeah. So, you Cowboys fans over there who I don't know who's worse. Y'all are Philly fans, but y'all need to calm your tits with this Dak is back shit because I'm still not. Let's see. The Giants keep winning.
Yep.
6-1. The Jets. Dude, the Jets are 4-0 on the road.
Yep, they are.
Giants
And
3-0.
now, granted, now let's be serious. It is the Jets are 4-0 on the road. They did go to the Packers, who now look terrible. I mean, you can't even say that the Packers are anything anymore. They did beat the Steelers, and they beat the Browns and the Broncos. So their losses are the Ravens and the Bengals at home. And then they did beat the Dolphins at home. But that was pre Tua coming back. So I don't know that you can say they're a great 4-0. They definitely fell in the power rankings today when they came out. There was some not really surprises. I mean, people were really high on them. And, some of the movement was like, they weren't impressive versus the Broncos, because the Broncos are garbage. Like, they are.
I'll tell you what impressed me, Donnie, and I hate to say it because I'm not a big fan of his, but he's a really good quarterback. But I think the Chiefs made a statement against the 49ers, made a statement to the whole league and said, look, you guys, we're the real deal. We're at this level. We're gonna meet the Bills again. And 49ers, you're that far behind us.
Yeah. And honestly, they made that statement after halftime. They made better adjustments than the Niners did. Because it was like
they scored 30 in the second half. 30 in the second half.
Yeah, it was like 14-13. So it was a really close game. Yeah. And then they came out in the second half, had made great adjustments, and just rolled all over them.
Yeah. Well, Mahomes 25 for 34, 423, 3 TDs. That's just
Yep.
beautiful, babe. And then Tua, I was real impressed with Tua coming back. You know,
He looked good. He looked
yeah,
patient.
yeah.
I still think he was like, oh yeah, my back. Nah, bullshit. You were knocked the fuck out. Like, just shut up. Just don't even try it. But the thing that impressed me most about the Chiefs, going back to them really quick, was Kelsey's going to get his. Like, it's just going to happen. Juju Schuster finally stepped up in a big way. 7 of 8, 124 with a TD.
Yeah.
But Marquise Valdez-Scantling, old Green Bay guy, 3 for 111 with a 57-yarder, no TDs, but he caught 3 of 4. So you go down their list and it's like Juju, 7 of 8, Marquise, 3 of 4, Kelsey, 6 of 8, McKinnon, 2 of 3, Hardeman, 4 of 4, Noah Gray, 1 of 1, Jody Foster, 1 of 2. I mean, they just weren't missing balls if they were targeted at them. Like, their big guys stepped up and said, we're going to catch them. You get them to us, we're going to catch them. And they weren't all like, there were some tough catches. Kelsey had a really good one, and so did Hardman. I mean, so yeah, they stepped up, especially in the second half.
I don't talk a lot about the Bears and the Patriots. I give 2 shits about either one.
We can just say that Mac Jones is terrible. Like,
yeah, and here's the other thing I'm going to say. How you sit, dog, everybody that was watching, even my wife, it is 3rd and 43, okay? And you're going to play 2 high man coverage. You're going to send 4 guys. You're not even going to have a spy. Justin Fields already has 50 yards rushing down the middle, and you're going to let him pick up, a 3rd and 30 on the run.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knew, you just knew. And then they had those called runs, and there was never an adjustment. There was never a stop. They didn't even try. Mm-mm. And I'm sitting here going, guys, what are you really think he's going to throw the ball? I mean, he can't throw it that far. He's not. No. It was very, very bad defense. The scheme, it was like they didn't even give a shit at home. They just pulled their panties down and let Fields do what the hell he want. And it was pretty bad. Anyway, that was the NFL.
Moving on.
Yeah, we'll talk Thursday about some picks and stuff like that. But moving on, let's move on, man. We had some big games in college football. I think we all did fairly decent with our bets and stuff like that. Let's see, what do we have here? I know.
Well, let's go down the top 25 at first. Ohio State took care of business at Iowa, covered, did everything. Tennessee took care of business. UT Martin covered, over. I think we all made a ton of money on that with the over, if you were listening anyway. Syracuse Clemson turned out to be a great game. I mean, Syracuse is up at halftime and does not score again. And Clemson rattles off 17 in the 4th. I mean, to make the comeback. Alabama, Mississippi State.
And everybody thought I was crazy.
Oh, yeah. But Alabama, Mississippi State turned out to be a lot closer than everybody thought.
Yeah, they thought I was crazy, but Hughes was right there. They just couldn't finish it. They weren't bigger and better. They weren't anything. It's just they didn't have.
I think the line was sharp. I mean, I think the line was sharp. Clemson had 4 turnovers and still won. If Syracuse couldn't win Saturday, there's no way they could ever win because
they gave them everything there.
There was a fumble on the 2 that was ran back for 98 yards. That was one of their scores. So I think if you played this game 9 out of 10 times, again, Clemson covers.
Yeah,
they were that much better.
I think so.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. I'll give you 8 out of 10. I won't give you 9 out of 10 because Syracuse beat their ass last year. So we've got. I'll give you 8 out of 10, but not 9 out of 10.
We'll go 8 out of 10, sure. No biggie there.
All right, moving on, smart ass. What's
I'll
next,
tell you.
Donnie?
Go ahead, Donnie. Who you got? What else we got?
We got Alabama, Mississippi State. Again, very close, a lot closer than a lot of people thought. Wasn't a lot of scoring. Coach liked LSU. They took care of business versus Ole Miss. But again, second half. Ole Miss is up into the first half. Does not score another point. 28 points from LSU to go ahead.
If I know one person better than I know my wife, it's old Lane motherfucking Kiffin, boys. I know my lane. Go ahead.
Kansas State and TCU. Woo!
Oh,
that was
Kansas State. I got a fun fact about both of those games. Actually, I knew this going into the LSU game, and we're kind of pushed for time. But the week before, Ole Miss gave up 340 yards rushing to a one-dimensional Auburn team. So we were all kind of like, this was it. The signs for Ole Miss going down were there. And that happened. TCU, got it here in my notes. I kind of went on my rant about Adrian Martinez and all this, and I said TCU would win by 10. Fun fact about TCU, it's the fourth game in a row where they've played either a quarterback has left or been severely injured. Dylan Gabriel got knocked out. The Daniels kid from Kansas got knocked out. The kid at Oklahoma State, that's when he hurt his shoulder.
Sanders.
And then this past weekend, Kansas State got down to their third string quarterback. Just food for thought going forward. If somebody has a healthy quarterback for 4 quarters, will it be the end of TCU's run?
Or will
they've
TCU hurt another one?
They've been behind in every one of those games too.
Yep.
So just a little foreshadowing there.
That's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
Oregon, UCLA.
God dang it. That one pissed me off, Donnie. Oh my gosh.
That one was tough. Oregon did well, controlled the ball, did exactly what they had to do.
Oregon,
but the one that everybody got,
maybe the best game of Bo Nix's career.
Yeah,
and that was one quarter. They scored 28 in the second. That's it.
Yeah, he was 22 of 28, 283, 5 TDs.
Jeez,
that's sickening.
Yeah, y'all come play in the SEC, bitch.
But Charbonnel, 20 carries, 151. That's 7 yards. Like, why do you not? He's only got 1 TD. Why are you not handing him the ball every single down at 7 yards a carry?
Because my ego is bigger than my clipboard, Donnie.
Well, yeah. But the one that everybody I know talked about. We did have some other ones that were like outside. Tulane beat Memphis. Cincinnati barely squeaked by SMU. Penn State rolled over Minnesota, and Wake beat Boston College, which are no big deals. But the one that I know everybody was talking about was Texas and Oklahoma State.
Yeah, baby.
Texas choked at the end. Gave up 14 in the fourth, did not score, had 3 points in the second half. That's coaching. That's all there is to it.
And my right here, I still have it. I said, Ewers is human. He played bad Saturday. What did he do this Saturday? I told y'all, 19 of 49. And I had kind of warned everybody earlier, he had one good quarter against Alabama. That's not enough of a sample size to anoint anybody. But, I'm starting to think back. I wonder if Joe Montana ever had a game in his career where he had 30 incompletions.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we all had Oklahoma State anyways, and Steve Sarkisian is actually on the hot seat. If you go to coacheshotseat.com, I posted it on the Discord. He's at 8 or 9 already, and I think it's because they figured out this guy's an idiot.
That could be it.
Yeah. Well, if you'll remember back when he was at USC, he called for the athletic director to come down to the field.
Yeah.
And then, he got fired, he had a drug problem. Then he was with the Falcons and they got rid of him. He went to Alabama and was an analyst. I'm just wondering if, definitely being a head coach is a lot different than being a coordinator. I think the guy could go back and be a great coordinator somewhere, but there's got to be a reason, because he's recruiting well to be on the hot seat already.
You know what, Sid Dog? We've had, and this is, I guess it was right before you and Tony and them came on board with us. But me and Donnie and Tristan, we've had this conversation, and I've always felt like this throughout my coaching career. And we call it staying in your lane. If you need to know who you are and what you're best at, and you need to stay in your lane. Nick Saban figured out he wasn't very good in the pros, but he's pretty fucking good in the college. In college, you know, Will Muschamp, one of the best defense coordinators I've ever seen. He ain't worth a crap as a head coach. You know, some of these guys are better off doing what they do. You know, stay in your lane. Sarkisian probably is like that guy. You know, Lane Kiffin could have stayed at Bama, and I don't think we wouldn't be talking about Bama the way we are right now if Kiffin was over there with them right now. Kiffin's that good at managing an offense. Managing an entire team, I don't think it's possible. Sark's doing that. He's trying to call the plays and manage a team and manage a clock and manage different scenarios in the game. I don't think that works. You need to stay in your lane. Again, this is his first year there, so I'm going to give him some leeway. I'm not going to be as hard on him.
Second year.
Second year. I'm not going to be as hard on him as I am Jimbo. But you're right. I'm agreeing with you. These guys, if they can just stay in their lane, but dollar signs are dollar signs. I just think some guys are made and built to be coordinators, offensive or defense coordinators. Some guys are built to be head coaches. What do you think about that? That Baylor game was really. I put a lot of money on Baylor.
I got.
Go ahead. I had a lot of money.
Said,
I had a lot of money on Baylor.
I've got a hot.
You got a what?
I think I was 11-3 in what my picks were, but with my parlays, I made this major mistake of thinking Purdue was something that I could build on. They were an underdog. Yeah. The last 3 weeks, I post my triple dogs. I went 2-1. So the last 3 weeks, so I'm 6-3, and I don't have a problem, getting on a dog. And right. I'm going to tell you, I jumped on Purdue, and I thought, man, I have seen Wisconsin. I saw them play the week before against Michigan State, and I was just like, this team has no chance, da-da-da-da. But this is the time of the year where, it was a home game. It was a 12 o'clock game, but it was a home game. And, Dan Purdue goes out there and throws a pick six. It's 21-0 in the first quarter, a lot like the Texas A&M game. And it was just too much to overcome. Yeah. And you just have to sit there and go, well, I should just went out here and burn this pile of money. But
yeah. Well, let's move on to I don't know if you got a chance to read the new blog that I put out, but talking about the rankings a little bit. And really, to me, you got three schools. You got Georgia, Bama, and Tennessee. 1, 2, and 3 in no particular order. And then from number 4 to number 25, I could really give a shit what order they come in. I mean, I know TCU's out there still, Clemson, Ohio State, Michigan. That made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. And they might be in the discussion here in 3 more weeks if they keep it up. And then
Ohio State and Michigan play November the 27th. So you might as well just get used to them sitting right where they are until the very, very end, and they play each other.
Now, I did write a letter to Notre Dame, and I posted it on our website, and I said, please act like a half-assed decent team and beat a mediocre Clemson, please. Thank you, the entire football world.
The early line is -3, so there's at least hope.
Right. What do you guys think? I mean, I got Georgia, Tennessee, Bama, and I don't care in what order you put them in, but those are my top 3, and everybody else can eat a bag. What do you guys think?
Well, I think there's always a saying that you should be weary of the guy who's sitting back being quiet, and that's Georgia. And Georgia's been through this before. This isn't their first ride like Tennessee. I think that they're going to take care of business Saturday, and I think they're going to welcome Tennessee into Athens and go, buddy, you're not ready yet. And they're going to slow down that offense. You've got Brock Bowers, one of the best tight ends in the country. People are underestimating that Georgia has the best players in the country. They
Donnie?
still have the best players in the country.
Donnie, what do you think?
No, I think Georgia hasn't said shit. They're just sitting there. It's like you said, you got to watch those quiet ones that just sit in the back of the room, just waiting for the right moment. That's what Georgia's doing. They're not talking shit. They're not doing anything. They're just like, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Hey,
come on down. Let's go. Because it is like you said. I mean, they didn't lose a ton. I mean, and you got to go to Georgia. It'll be a national televised game. I mean, it's a TBD, but it's going to be national, and it won't be ESPN. It'll be, it'll be ABC. So game of the week, it's coming, because at that point it may be number 2 versus number 1. It ain't. Yeah. It'll be 3 versus 1, but I don't see anything happening between now and 2 weeks from now.
I think Kentucky could play Tennessee very hard Saturday night. I think they could cover. I really do.
They could cover, but since it is at Tennessee, that place is going to be
rowdy. It's at night. And I think, but we've talked about this, Coach Z. There's 2 teams in the SEC that play defense this year, and Alabama's not one of them. No. It's Kentucky and Georgia. So, I told somebody this the other day. Remember, this is a Tennessee team that could have lost to Pittsburgh in overtime and should have lost to Bama. I mean, if Bama hits that field goal, they could have 2 losses. When I hear people talking about their offense, it gets a little bit lost on how bad their defense is, because they've had one possession game against Florida, 1 possession game against Pittsburgh, who's now 1-2 in the ACC Coastal, which is probably the worst division in college football, and a 1 possession game against Alabama. So although the offense is explosive, they're not there defensively yet. Is Tennessee coming? Yes, I do. Once they add some more pieces and get that defense coming, I think everybody in the league is going to have to adjust and go, well, we're going to have to score more and be better defensively to handle these guys. But I just don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just don't think they're there yet. And I think when they play Georgia, and Georgia recruits and has just been dominating recruiting safeties and corners and physical corners, it's going to be something that they're not used to seeing yet.
Yeah. And here's the thing about Georgia's defense. Granted, they've had 2 letdown games where they played down to competition. That was Kent State and Missouri. Outside of those 2 games, they've given up 20 points in 6 games. Now, even with those other 2 games at 22 points, they're averaging 9 points a game on defense. 9. That's not even a touchdown and a field goal. And yeah, I mean, have they played great teams? No, but Oregon's looking pretty good right now. And South Carolina's not looking bad. And Auburn's still an SEC team, so
decimated. They decimated Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, there's 20 points combined between those 3 teams. That's 6.8 per team. I mean, yeah, it's going to be, we'll know how bad Tennessee's going to be after this weekend, because
the early line on that game is already Georgia minus 10.5.
Yeah. You've got Tennessee facing Kentucky, and Georgia's facing Florida. Now, I know it's not the same Florida we're used to, but they're always going to get up for that rivalry game. I mean, it is what it is. It's if Georgia has a rivalry, it's not Georgia Tech anymore. It hasn't been Georgia Tech in years. It is Florida. So that's the one that I think they got to watch out for. They may have a slip up against Kentucky, because it is at Kentucky. I'm guessing they're probably going to make that a nighttime game. It's, a few weeks out, but we'll see.
I think that Coach Z can agree to this. This is from a coaching perspective, especially in football, is you don't have to, when you're playing Missouri, you don't open up the package. You don't open up the playbook. You don't open up you can bet your bottom dollar that when they play Tennessee, and they're going to use Brock Bowers in ways that they're not using them, because in the SEC it really is survive this Saturday and get to the next Saturday.
Yep.
Well, I can see him having 12 to 14 catches against Tennessee next week, whereas in that Missouri game, you just don't want to. How many times do you want to throw it to Brock Bowers in Missouri and get him beat up?
Also in 4 or 5 different positions, out of motion, from
out
of the backfield, from a flanker position, from a slot position, from a wideout position. Trying to create matchups. You don't have to, when you're Georgia, you don't have to create matchups against Missouri. And I'm sorry, Missouri, but that's the truth. You don't have to do that. Against the Tennessee, you can do that. And then on the other side of the field, there might be some some blitzes, there might be some fronts, there might be some things that they haven't had to show yet, that they'll break out when they need to. Yeah, I agree with you. You just do what you can and get through this Saturday to get to the next Saturday, because there's some big ones coming on, and we're going to get to those right now. First of all, I got to give a shout out to the Big 12 teams, because I love horror movies, and those guys are a bunch of fucking cannibals out there in the Big 12, man. They're just eating each other's lunch. And the Big 12, here's the thing though, and I wrote this down, I'm going to read this. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the Big 12 teams can't find an identity and just continue to act like my ex with 15 different personalities that we witness every weekend. They're just a bunch of cannibals. They can't figure out, and somebody just can't take over. And I really think the TCU Oklahoma Conference Championship game is going to be a good one to watch. I think I'm just going to take the over 95 in that game. What do y'all think?
I think TCU's going to lose. I think they're going to lose. I think that there's some issues on defense. And Texas Tech beat Baylor, I believe, 40-14 Saturday, and Texas Tech is only a 7-point favorite against West Virginia.
No, Baylor beat Kansas this week.
Baylor won.
Texas Tech beat West Virginia 40-14.
Yeah.
Now TCU plays Baylor, and they're only -7. The next week, TCU plays Texas Tech at home, and I'm going ahead and calling it right now. TCU goes down to Texas Tech, because right now that may be the most efficient clicking offense in that league. They have really stepped it up offensively. They beat Texas ever since they've come off that game. They're throwing up mad points. Just beware of Texas Tech, and Kansas. TCU's identity is let's go outscore somebody. Well, that's the wrong team, I think, right now that you want to do that with.
I got you.
Just write that down. Just make a little note of that.
All right.
The big thing that you're going to find is Baylor took care of business pretty much at Kansas. The score is 35-23, but they kind of let Kansas come back in the late. But they 28-3 at halftime. Just a domination. And then they kind of stepped off the gas. But Reese
Kansas lost a Heisman candidate quarterback, and they're replacing. When you lose your best player like that at Kansas, and one thing we know Kansas doesn't have is depth. We're talking about two different Kansas teams. We're talking about a first half Kansas team and a second half Kansas team. I'm still upset about Baylor going out and losing to BYU, who lost to Liberty this weekend 41-14.
Yeah, well, we lost to App State, and App State has shit the bed 3 times since then. So,
Coach Z, y'all have Texas A&M is the biggest dumpster fire in the country right now. So,
no, if you want me to, I'll read you the blog that I wrote about them today too. I had a lot of self-reflection to do today. Okay, and yes, we are a dumpster.
They did.
So
they just suspended 3 players.
Is that me or him?
Across
That's him.
That's him.
screen
I'm losing
here
you,
just a
Sid.
second ago. Does it look like they're huh?
I said say that again.
Oh, I said Texas A&M just suspended. I said I just had a thing come by. Texas A&M just suspended 3 of their players for actions in the locker room after the game. So it kind of looks like Jimbo's.
No, it wasn't after the game. It was before the game. They got high before the game.
Yeah.
They were
is that what it was?
Before the game.
Yeah, he's lost control.
Looks like Jimbo's lost institutional control.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I sent that. I tagged Coach on a TikTok with Natalie on that. Yep. She was like, "Tell me this is not happening. This has got to avoid bets, right? Like, you got guys out there high playing football. Like, what the hell?
Jimbo's in trouble."
Yeah.
Anyway, finally, everybody can keep talking about Georgia, Bama, and Tennessee, but I'm going to keep an eye out on LSU and Kentucky. Okay, check this out now. In any of these games, I think any of the top 3 can go down. So don't blink because you might miss something. October 29th, Kentucky at Tennessee, Georgia at Florida. Throw the records, throw all that shit out the door. Georgia, Florida, the world's largest tailgate party in Atlanta. That would be something I would love to go to, but I won't. But 29th, Kentucky at Tennessee, Georgia at Florida. You guys have given me shit every time I've picked Kentucky, and Kentucky has fucking come out and upset some people. I'm not saying that's going to happen now, but there's a possibility. November 5th.
I love Kentucky. I've been on,
Bama goes to LSU at 6 p.m. in Death Valley. Bama goes to LSU November 5th. Tennessee goes to Georgia that same fucking day, okay? There could be a shakeup there. November 12th, Bama goes to Ole Miss. You don't think they're going to make that a night game? Ole Miss at night is going to be tough. Bama's got another tough road game. November 19th, Tennessee goes to South Carolina. I know. We suck. We're a dumpster fire. But you never know. In South Carolina, strange shit happened at night. And Georgia goes to Kentucky. Yeah, maybe it's a long shot, but you said it yourself. Kentucky, or I've told you too, Kentucky has the best defensive coaching staff in the SEC.
I think they match up against Georgia better than Tennessee matches up against Georgia.
I agree. And then 26th, we've got the Iron Bowl, right? Auburn at Bama.
That won't be much this year.
Get it? Yeah.
Well,
that's
okay.
Nothing.
I don't know. Let's go back and look at the field goal, the 99-yard field goal return that year. It wasn't supposed to be much of a game there either. I'm just saying we can throw the record. I throw the record books. I throw everything out the door. I know Auburn has probably one of the worst coaches or second worst coach in the nation behind Jimbo, but it's still a rivalry. It still means something to those kids. Those kids played high school ball against each other. Now they're playing college ball against each other. I just think any of those games right there, anything can happen. So
well, I think Bama's vulnerable. He doesn't have the receivers. They don't have the receiving core that they've had. They're down a little bit. This is just, Bryce Young won the Heisman last year. Hell, he's the same guy. The reason he's not putting up the numbers is because of all the receivers and running backs and stuff that have left. Their starting running back is a transfer from Georgia Tech. They've had to try to fill the gap this year. Now, but we're missing. There's no Waddles and Ruggs and the kid that won the Heisman, the Smith kid. They're not out there right now. So, but I'm going to tell you this: Georgia does have receivers, and McConkey and Bowers, and Tennessee does not have a defense. And I'll keep going back to. I think Georgia is just kind of sleeping around here, but Georgia does have receivers.
Well, they need to wake their ass up because they got Florida and Tennessee back to back, and they might beat the shit out of both of them. But you got them both back to back. And we talked about this early on, Donnie.
I think the big thing you're seeing that Georgia's different. Is Georgia has those cornerbacks that can go with anybody. Alabama does not have them. They got torched. I mean, Tennessee definitely doesn't have them. I mean, they've been outgunning people all year. That's the only way they can win.
And Lassiter has been at Georgia playing safety since it feels like 2008.
Well, he's special,
so,
man. That's a
and
special
when you've got
freaking kid.
and
seventh year redshirt freshman,
and when you've got a kid like him, and then I can assure you that they're not going to throw five 60-yard passes down the middle against Georgia.
No,
they're going to have to work short and earn their way down the field. I love the 10.5. I may just lay the points because I think once a team like Tennessee, like if you stop that offense, then they start looking around at each other and everybody starts going, well, this hadn't happened before. What do we do?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, and Georgia's got some. They've got some depth at the D line that is just, and it's not freshman depth. It's juniors. You got Brinson and Carter and Loge, or I think is his name, and you're just not giving up anything on those guys. They're all like 6'4", 6'5", 300, 285 pounds. Like they're rotating them in like nobody's business, and it's that way across the whole stacked area. I mean, outside of the defensive backs, which they're a little young on, a lot of sophomores, their starters though are still like spot on, junior seniors, so yeah, they're going to have some pros come out of it. I mean, they've got some guys out there that are just making ridiculous numbers right now, and they're just deep. I mean, they were building depth while Alabama was winning championships, and now they're setting themselves up.
They were building depth. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was telling somebody else that today is that's what separates the top tier SEC teams to the rest is the depth, especially now in October where guys starting to get a little beat up. Their arms are starting to ache a little bit. Their shins are starting to get beat up a little bit. And Georgia just keeps running in all these fresh bodies. And that takes a toll on you because if you're going to win in this league, you need to be deep. And Alabama's not quite as deep. And they don't have as quite as many. And the reason they don't is because Georgia's been getting these players in recruiting. When Kirby went over to Georgia, he started going after these guys that Nick Saban was used to getting and stacking up in a 1, 2, 3, on their depth chart.
Yeah, he got them with the pure fact of saying, hey, I'll give you a chance to start and you can beat Alabama. And then to get that depth, he said, listen, you got to understand these guys are going to be out of here in 2, 3 years. Like you wait 1 year, you're playing, maybe you're second string, but I'm going to rotate you in so much, you're going to feel like a freaking starter.
Right.
And that's what he's doing. He's keeping the bodies fresh. I mean, first game of the year, he's got a third string sophomore tight end out there hurdling people. And people are like, it was third quarter. Yeah, well, he played the first, second as well. Like he was in, I think it was like 26% of the snaps. So as a sophomore, you're getting that much play. Why not?
They've got two NFL. I mean, Bowers is he may be the best tight end since Gronkowski. I mean, that's how special he is. And
that position is so hard to make into the pros, though. Like we've seen some amazing athletes and abilities, and man, they get there, and there's been a few special ones, but usually your special guys are not Gronkowskis. They're Kelsey's, and they don't have the hype coming out that. And I don't understand it. It's the most confusing spot in the pros for me to tell like who's going to make it and who's not.
You can write it down. Brock Bowers is a first round pick.
Oh, I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, like write it down now. That's 100%. He's going to be.
He's got the talent.
He can block. He's huge. He can.
Who was the big tight end that was drafted a few years ago? That hasn't done anything, and I can't think of his name. Crap.
One of the better ones was the kid out of Iowa, that's with Detroit. That caught my eye.
Well, I know Kyle Pitts was this year's.
Kyle Pitts has been a bust.
And hasn't done anything. Highest graded ever, and hasn't done anything as of yet.
And I don't know what's going on with him, and sometimes maybe it's just a kid gets some money and he quits caring about football. But that kid was really good in college. But I mean, Bowers from day one at Georgia as a freshman, he helped them win the national championship. He's going to be a force to reckon with coming through here. I mean, he may end up in the Heisman conversation after the next couple of games here. Because
whoever wins the Heisman is coming out of Georgia. I mean, let's not kill
Hawkinson was his name, and he's played
from
decent.
Iowa.
Yeah, he's played decent, but he was first round pick. Going to be the next Gronkowski, et cetera, and just hasn't moved into it. I mean,
so do you guys want me to call the Kentucky upset now, or wait till Thursday?
You can call it.
Well, you've been telling me that you told me that last week. You told me that the week before. All right, I'll wait and make it exciting. Guys, it's about time to go. Hey, I want to remind everybody, go follow, go visit, go to TheHunchATL, TheHunch, HUNCHATL. Go visit The Hunch to help track your bets, test yourself against other cappers, and enter their free pick'em tournament and a chance to win $1,250. Visit TheHunchATL for all your betting needs. Also, please go follow us, CoachesCall.store. Hit the menu button and go follow us on the Discord. These guys are doing a fantastic job. We're having a lot of fun. We got a lot of sports going on right now. We got a lot of our buddies are out there. I know Donnie's in tennis, he's in basketball. I mean, there's just so much. I don't know how he does it, and we've got a lot of other guys we've got hockey now too. Fixing to hit college basketball.
I got three hockey plays tonight, 3 NBA plays, and I was 5-2 in tennis.
There you go. We've got a lot going on right now in the Discord. Our Discord is firing up on all cylinders. So go to the
and I will admit, I'm not on the Discord as much as I used to be, and that's because this is the busy time of year for me. I mean, I've got NBA, NHL, NCAA, NFL, still got baseball, still got tennis. I wish I could be on there more and talk more. If you tag me, I'll jump in, but you almost have to tag me these days.
So go to CoachesCall.store, hit the menu button. Make sure you go down there, hit the Discord, join the Discord for free. Doesn't cost you anything. Be a part of it. You can tailor fade, whatever you want to do. Also, go hit our merch store. I'm wearing our NFL podcast shirt. I'm wearing a Coach's Call cap. Go over there and buy you a T-shirt or a cap or a Yeti cup or something. Support us. We appreciate all of that stuff. Also, you can find us on Spotify and now on YouTube. We're starting to put a lot of stuff on YouTube. I am sorry our boy Tristan Dunn ain't here today, but I think he's fixing to do a podcast tomorrow or two. So make sure you go follow him. Donnie, thanks for being on. Sid Dog, thank you for your time. Again,
thanks for having us.
Buddies at the Hunch ATL. As for this week, for the recap, thank you for joining. This is your coach, Coach Z, with The Real Game. And we will see y'all on Thursday. You guys take it easy. Have a good one.